What's up, guys? This is Blackscape coming at you with another Dragon Ball fan manga, and this one is a crossover, and I have a very important question for you guys today. Which Dragon Ball character works the best in a crossover with Marvel? Let me know your answer in the comment section below.
Prepare yourself, Dan Saiyan.
So we are truly living in a Dragon Ball golden age, and I mean that wholeheartedly because even though the series is not back yet, we have a plethora of brand new Dragon Ball stories through fan mangas and fan animations. Right now there are at least 20 to 30 different fan stories coincidingly going together, and personally for me, I would rather have 30 Dragon Ball stories as opposed to just one. And today I have a crossover Dragon Ball fan manga where we take the champions from Dragon Ball and insert them into the world of Marvel. Today I have the pleasure of reviewing Dragon Ball WC Worlds Collide. This Dragon Ball fan manga is written by Griffin Broyles 152, illustrated by Keith the Saiyan, and cover art by Rising Fist. Now, if you guys know Rising Fist, he's the one that did the extra additional stories of Dragon Ball Z where Goku turned Super Saiyan as opposed to Gohan. Now I'm going to leave links to the Twitter of Keith in the description below. That's where you can read Dragon Ball WC. And I'm also going to leave a link to Rising Fist's Twitter as well. Go ahead and follow him there. He is a rising star in the Dragon Ball fan manga community, and this story is a testament to that. So first of all, the main thing that we see here is the artwork from Rising Fist for the actual cover, and you can see that Babidi is going to be the main villain in this story. Now, this is not new to Dragon Ball fan mangas. Obviously, the new chapters of Dragon Ball Multiverse have Babidi as the evil villain, but this is obviously different because here comes the Power Scalers looking at the cover and seeing that Iron Man and Spider-Man are on there, and yeah, they are not on the same level, even close in power to Cell, Frieza, but this was the right answer for the question that I had at the beginning of the video. Which character works best in this scenario? And Babidi is that character. Babidi is not overly powered. He's actually extremely weak, and I would say that physically and with strength wise and durability, he could probably be taken out by Iron Man or Spider-Man alone. But what makes Babidi dangerous is his magic. His magic is a huge hacks ability that a lot of the wizards and magical beings in Marvel would have a tough time dealing with. So there is a good way to create this story by actually evening out the playing field, and Babidi is a character that can 100% do that. So I wouldn't just disregard this story based on power scaling alone, because as we know from Dragon Ball S, the story of Goku invading the Naruto world, there are plenty of ways to even out the playing field when you have characters that can destroy planets. So the first page of this fan manga has the cover looking like a Dragon Ball episode, but I just love the way that the Dragon Balls are incorporated in a web. That's just so classic Dragon Ball and gives huge homage to obviously one of the stars of this story, Spider-Man. So here we get to a consistent trope of Dragon Ball, and it's really funny that Dragon Ball GT gets so much hate and kind of feels like the redheaded stepchild of the Dragon Ball world, because every Dragon Ball fan manga story, I would say 80% of them, if not 90%, and I'm just using arbitrary numbers, all of them have to do with Dragon Ball GT or after Dragon Ball GT. They all incorporate GT, so it shows that Dragon Ball GT had really good elements to it. It's just the execution was extremely bad, in my opinion. There were were some good spots, but most of the time Dragon Ball GT lacked quality, but the story was there, and that's why these Dragon Ball fan mangas sort of wrap themselves around that, and they want to continue the story from that point onward. Also, it's probably a lot easier to do that because Dragon Ball Super is still ongoing, so we kind of know where it's heading to, like Moro arc and beyond, so it's kind of harder to continue that story from there, but that's a greater challenge. I think that a story coming after Dragon Ball Super would be fantastic, but I do like and appreciate that a lot of these stories come after Dragon Ball GT. As we begin our tale, Babidi has unfrozen Frieza and Cell for obviously evil reasons, and Frieza immediately wants to kill Babidi because he's just like that and probably sees Babidi as a weakling, but remember, Babidi is not about his strength or his size, he is about his magic, and Cell tells Frieza, let's go ahead and listen to this guy. Remember, Cell and Frieza are basically buddy-buddy after Dragon Ball GT, so this all makes sense for that scenario. Babidi then ends up opening a portal into the Marvel world. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this is supposed to be the Marvel MCU or actual Marvel comics. I mean, we have Iron Man and Spider-Man kind of knowing each other and being buddy-buddy, so I think this might have a lot of influences from the MCU, but if we're looking at strictly powers and how strong characters can be, I think they're gonna have to do a lot more with the actual Marvel comic books because the MCU nerfs a lot of its characters, and given the right scenario, a lot of these Marvel characters are extremely overpowered. So I think it's good to take some elements from both concepts in both series and incorporate it in Dragon Ball WC. So some poor soul tries to mug Babidi, and immediately I thought that we were gonna get a scene from Dragon Ball Z's Buu Saga where Babidi just blows that guy up, but we don't. Babidi hits that guy with his magic and we don't really see what happens to him, but it is implied that he dies, and at this moment we get Peter Parker, who looks really good in the Dragon Ball style. So does Tony Stark. They actually all look really good in the Dragon Ball style. He has his spider senses, or his Peter tingles. They are tingling and he feels a disturbance in the force. So he puts on his costume and he confronts Babidi. Babidi tries to hit him with the same blast he just hit the other guy with, and Spider-Man dodges it. And I do like that the Spider-Man quips are implemented in this story. To me, that means that a lot of the Marvel characters are going to have their characterizations intact, and they're going to be differentiated differently in the story, similar to how they are in the Marvel series, so that's good. But apparently this is all according to plan. Babidi says everything's going the way it should be. He's obviously not surprised to see not only Spider-Man there, but Iron Man also lands right in front of him. So Babidi ends up making the Dragon Balls appear and then disappearing, and that is the end of Babidi's attack on New York in this chapter. Iron Man brings the Dragon Balls to Nick Fury, who is trying to find this evildoer. They know that he's up to no good, and they have no idea what the Dragon Balls are, so they assemble the Avengers, and that is the end of the first chapter. Now, I really like the fact that we have the Dragon Balls in the Marvelverse. All 7 of them are there. So all we need is somebody to try to make a wish on them, and I'm curious to see if the Marvel characters are going to make a wish, and what would they wish for. I mean, why else would Babidi leave the Dragon Balls there unless it is maybe to summon the evil dragons somehow? I don't know. I think maybe that's the direction that they're going with, but this was a lot of fun. I love Dragon Ball style Nick Fury. He is so spot on. It's ridiculous. I'm a huge Marvel fan, just like a Dragon Ball fan, so this Dragon Ball crossover is definitely right on the money for me. But let me know in the comments section below what you guys think of Dragon Ball WC. This is going to be Blackscape signing off. Take care, guys.
Subscribe for more content.